Hi guys, welcome to Guru Beauty. Today I'm reviewing for you a relatively new foundation. It's the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra 24 Hour, and this is a long-lasting foundation that they describe as perfection divine. It's meant to provide wear and comfort, retouch free, and is SPF 15. The shade that I show you today that I'm wearing is in the Australian and UK line of colours, and that's in 035. The American line actually has a completely different numerical coding for their shades. So the equivalent from what I can tell of the 035 would be the 320 warm. The 330 neutral I do also have, and that is a lot yellower than this foundation. So this foundation is sort of quite neutral in terms of the pink yellow. You'll see as I apply it how it looks. It does lean towards the yellow side. The odd numbers in the Australian UK range of Lancome are the warmer, the more yellow toned colours, and then the even numbers of the range are the more pink toned colours. I wanted to do the Australian one because I suspect that in the blogosphere and the YouTube world, the Australian and UK Lancome range probably is not as well represented as the American range. So I do show you in the tutorial as well how the three colours that I do have compare with each other, including the one that I'm wearing today. They do promise that the foundation is going to give you 24 hours of wear for a divine lasting perfection. They've done 8 years of research, and it's their very first 24-hour wear foundation. It has a new Eternal Soft technology, and it is supposed to defeat all the challenges of any busy and stressful day. I definitely have those. It promises that it's retouch free and that the complexion stays perfectly sublime. They promise shine free, flawless and unified, and 24 hours of divine comfort. It's non-comedogenic, dermatologically tested, suitable for all skin types including sensitive. The foundation comes in a 30 milliliter or 1 fluid ounce frosted glass bottle. Comes with a little handy dandy pump. The pump dispenses a nice amount of foundation. So this foundation sells for $68 in Australia, $44 in the US. So it has a rating on Makeup Alley of 3.9 out of a possible 5, which is pretty average I would say, and 66% of reviewers saying yes, that they would repurchase this foundation. It is a medium buildable coverage. I'm going to show you how it applies, how it covers my hyperpigmentation and any marks on my face, and then as per my usual foundation reviews, I'm going to come back at the end of the day. And if you're like me and you have anything like combination to oily skin, that's really important, is not only how the foundation looks when you first apply it, but of course how it wears and how long it wears throughout the day. Okay, so I'm all prepped and primed. I had 3 shades of Lancome Teint Idole 24 Hour. Now, one of the difficulties about this foundation for those who are trying to shop it online is that the American numbering system is different to the Australian numbering system. But I wanted to show you swatches on my hand. So this is the Australian shade 035, the American shade 330 Bisque Neutral, and the American shade 320 Bisque Warm. So today I'm applying the Australian shade. This is the 035. We've got a nice handy pump, and it disperses a nice amount of foundation, just so you can see how much dispenses each time. 1 squirt and 2 squirts. So I've got my beauty blender ready to go. I'm just tapping that in, and I'm just going to distribute that around my face. So that's one layer all blended in. Hopefully you can see that there's a little bit of coverage, a little bit of evening out of tone, but definitely everything's still showing through. So any sunspots, any freckles, any acne, blemishes, anything like that is still going to show through one layer. So I'm just getting the sponge, dipping it in the product again, and I'm just going to go over, any areas that I want a little bit more coverage with, which is generally my whole face. So can you see the the difference that that second layer made. It does just even out just a little bit more the, you know, freckles and sunspots and darkened areas, hyperpigmentation on my face. It definitely right now looks demi-matte upon very initial application. I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on and we'll see how it's looking after that. I think it may help to have diminished my pores, but once I've put on the rest of my makeup, I'll just let you know how it's looking then. Okay, so I've done my eye makeup. How has the foundation settled in? So definitely it does have a, I would say, a medium coverage. You can build it up. I would say that it's fairly decent on the pores. I think it's fairly decent at minimizing my pores. Just looking at the back of the box. Now this is meant to be irresistibly comfortable. I've never been one to really feel makeup on the skin unless it's something that never sets, like a BB cream, and then I really don't like the feeling of that. New, blendable and fresh texture that leaves the complexion perfectly smooth, velvety and matte with no powdery effect. So I would agree with that. I would say that there is at this point no powdery effect on my skin. It's definitely dried down after you apply it, and you can see that when you do a swatch on your hand. It dries down to a velvety powder, I would say. Not completely matte. I would say that would be a demi-matte. It does say that it's oil and transfer free, sweat and friction resistant, and without a mask effect. Suitable for all skin types, non-comedogenic. So far I would agree with what is on the bottle. I'm definitely not going to be testing it for 24 hours, but stay tuned. I'll come back at the end of the day and let you know how it wore. Okay, so here we are at the end of the day. We're looking at about 11 hours after application. I forgot to cover off when I put the foundation on that I was using it over Revlon's Color Correcting Primer, and I set it today just using a Rimmel Stay Matte pressed powder. I wanted to use just a regular drugstore pressed powder because I didn't want a high-end primer or a high-end powder sort of influencing this foundation. I wanted to see how it could go with a drugstore primer and a drugstore powder. So this is without any touch-up at all 11 hours afterwards. I tell you in every video that I talk about foundation that I have a combination to oily skin. I'm going to get breakout not only in the T-zone, usually my nose is the first place to go, but also around here, around my temples, definitely even here. I definitely see oil where I also have enlarged pores. And I've got to tell you that I am really impressed with this foundation for the end of the day. For any foundation, high end or low end, for it to look this good 11 hours after application without a single powder, touch up, blotting, anything is pretty amazing. So I would definitely give a big 2 thumbs up to the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra 24 hours. As if it's looking like this after 11 hours, then I would suggest that it's a perfect foundation if you've got a long event to attend. If you want a foundation to take you from day into the evening, you know, if you work all day and then you go for drinks after work, or you have a function or something to rush off to after work, this foundation would be a great one to use because it is going to take you right through from the day into the night. Absolutely fantastic for that. I was really happy with the coverage that I got from 2 layers, and I felt like that coverage stayed pretty well all day. It still looks fairly natural. What I love about this foundation is that not for any moment did it look cakey. I'll sometimes have a foundation that stays pretty well on most of my face. I might get a little bit of oil, you know, around here, or a little bit of oil around here where I do a lot of talking and there's a lot of sort of wear and tear on a foundation, and I'll start to see cakiness around here, you know, where it gets quite oily. I'll tend to see a bit of cakiness of foundations around my nose. This one really has no cakiness. It stayed fairly natural looking throughout the day, so I really liked that it's a long-lasting, decent coverage foundation that does really well in the oil control, and it's not a complete matte. So when you first apply it, it does in a few minutes set to quite a matte finish, I would say a demi-matte finish, and then throughout the day you do get a little bit of a sheen. I think you can see on this camera that you do get a little bit of a sheen coming through your skin, which just makes it look more natural. So I'm really impressed with the longevity of this foundation. Pore wise, I think it probably, on the spectrum of helping with enlarged pores, I would definitely put it on the good side of helping enlarged pores. And while I can still see them when I look for them, just the finish of this foundation is really nice, that it just does, I do think that it really does sort of help to diffuse. I think maybe it's got light reflecting particles or something without the dewiness. And then the last thing I noticed with the hand swatches as well, that it really does not settle into fine lines at all. So it doesn't settle into pores, it doesn't set into fine lines, and I'll always notice that around my eyes. Again, I'll notice that if I have any little dry spots around my nose, or where I do this a lot, my frown lines around my eyebrows as well, I'll notice that foundation does start to settle in or cake around there as well. And I didn't see that with this foundation at all. And I would say that this is a good foundation for people who do like a medium to heavier coverage with some oil control. If you feel that the double wear from Estee Lauder or the Revlon Color Stay or your MAC Studio Fix is too heavy, this one would probably be a good option. It certainly doesn't settle into fine lines, it's good on the pores, it dries to a semi-matte finish, but it gives you quite good oil control throughout the day, and of course it's very long wearing. I hope that this review helped you. Anyone who has used this foundation, please do comment down below and share your thoughts with us. It does certainly help other viewers to get multiple perspectives. Definitely do look up this product on Makeup Alley, and you can filter by skin type. If you've got dry skin and you want to know how this foundation goes, Makeup Alley filtering by skin type or age is a fantastic way to do your research. Or do ask any questions down below. If I can't answer it, I'm sure someone else would be more than happy to as well. And as I would always suggest with foundation, that wherever you can, go to the counter to get color matched, and also wherever you can, get a sample of the product before you lay out the money to commit to 30 mils of it. Everyone reacts very differently, obviously, to foundations. Some people might have drier skin and find that it's not appropriate for them at all. Some people who have a similar skin type to me may just have a very different experience to me. Usually makeup counters are pretty good with offering samples. If you do ask them for it, don't be afraid to, because it is a lot of money, they know that. That gives you a chance not only to try different application techniques to see what works best for you, but also just to see how it wears throughout the day for you in your environment, however you spend your day, but also just to see how your skin reacts. So some people might break out right away, or it might take a few days of using the product to see how your skin reacts. And also it just gives you a chance to see how you remove it as well, how that process is for you, because that's obviously an issue for a lot of people as well. So that's it. I hope that you enjoyed the review and the demonstration, and definitely this foundation gets a thumbs up if you do want to fork out the money for it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you again really soon. Bye.